Hey everyone, listen up. Stablecoins have gotten so ridiculously huge that mainstream media literally can't help themselves anymore. They're shining the spotlight on them left and right. I mean, we're talking CNBC over here publishing stories about how stablecoins are about to revolutionize the way Americans actually shop in physical stores. Pretty insane, isn't it? They're featuring businesses like Prevail Coffee, which is now part of this rapidly expanding crew of small to medium-sized American companies that are turning to stablecoins to reduce expenses and drive some serious innovation in their local markets. And you know what? This is the exact vision crypto was designed for from day one, slashing costs, demonstrating the pure efficiency of this tech as it happens. That's the whole dream. And guess what? These businesses are achieving it with stablecoins, which fundamentally delivers on that same promise. Now, look, there's always going to be people saying, it's only stablecoins though. So the blockchain networks themselves don't really matter, won't do anything for the ecosystem. But hold on a second. Whatever network these stablecoins are traveling through is absolutely going to have a substantial effect on the value of that network's native gas token. Why is that? Simple, because that gas token is what gets used to process and settle all those transactions on that specific network anyway. So when we're examining stablecoins and how adoption is trending, man, it's heating up. Like, it's heating up big time, and I'm genuinely excited about this. Honestly, it feels like we've arrived at that pivotal moment where stablecoins are becoming our generation's social media, that monumental breakthrough technology for the internet. And we all know how absolutely transformative social media was for the internet, right? So basically it built this insane adoption layer that just opened the floodgates, bringing wave after wave of new users into the space. And from that turning point, the pure momentum, just non-stop growth. Now with crypto, here's my hot take. Stablecoins are about to be that social media level breakthrough moment. Like, stablecoins are pulling in these absolutely enormous players. And listen carefully, because this matters. We're not talking about your average retail traders here, people. We're talking massive enterprise corporations, institutional giants, even those medium-sized businesses getting in on the action. And all of that momentum is going to naturally pull everyday retail folks onto the platform. Mass adoption, it's about to go absolutely parabolic from there. This is genuinely thrilling to witness happening in real time, especially when you look at heavyweight mainstream outlets like Bloomberg. Yeah, I know, I'm not subscribed, so the paywall's blocking us, but check out this headline: stablecoins make banking narrower. We're literally watching these powerhouse media platforms discussing stablecoins on a grand scale now, examining how they're streamlining business operations like crazy, revolutionizing the entire banking infrastructure, completely reshaping the fundamental mechanics of finance itself. Like, this is a legitimately historic moment unfolding. And then, wait for it, the Bank of England governor, literally the head of the UK central bank, came out saying stablecoins could decrease our dependence on traditional banks. And honestly, well, duh, right? Like, seriously, why would I bother dealing with a traditional bank when I can blast stablecoin transfers anywhere around the globe for literally fractions of a penny, completely regardless of the transaction size, right? Stablecoins are literally on fire right now. We're talking over $300 billion in total value. So I've got this fresh update from Cointelegraph pulled up, and boom, the total stablecoin market cap just crossed that $300 billion threshold. Oh, and we saw almost $5.5 billion flow in during just the past 7 days. I mean, come on. That kind of growth is absolutely wild to watch unfold. Stablecoins are definitely having their breakthrough era. And let me tell you, this is going to be super, super bullish for the networks powering them. Think XRP, Hedera, Algorand, Stellar. the whole squad. So when we zoom in on the leading stablecoins dominating this space, we're looking at over $312 billion sitting there. Sure, RWA.XYZ might be lagging a bit with their numbers, but $312 billion, that's a genuinely enormous pile of capital tied up in stablecoins. Just pause and consider what's unfolded in merely the last year. If I pull up the actual value of stablecoins living on chain, hold on. Let me rewind super quick let's dive into 2024. And honestly, the numbers are kind of insane. So check this out. At the start of 2024, stablecoins were sitting at around $129 billion. Fast forward to now, we're talking over $291 billion. Actually, let's be real, we're basically at $300 billion at this point. And here's what blows my mind. That's the kind of explosive growth we've seen in just about a year and a half. I was like, let that sink in for a second. Now, when we talk about monthly transfer volume though, okay, this is where it gets really interesting. We've been consistently hanging out around the $3 trillion mark for a while now. Yeah, you heard that right. Trillion with a T. Now, we're not quite at those all-time highs yet, but we're creeping up there. You know what I mean? Let me break down these monthly numbers real quick. September, which was honestly kind of a sleepy month, still hit almost $3.2 trillion. The month before that, $3.5 trillion. And before that, another $3.2 trillion. And these were supposedly boring months for crypto. Look, not many people are even playing in the crypto sandbox right now. So when are we still putting up these kinds of monthly transfer volume numbers? That's telling us something huge. The stablecoin space is literally exploding in size, whether people realize it or not. And here's where it gets fun. When you pull back and check out the yearly picture, we're crushing it at over $25.5 trillion, basically touching $25.6 trillion for the year. Now, 2024, we peaked at $27.4 trillion. But listen, here's what I really think. The craziest part of this whole market cycle, yeah, it hasn't even shown up yet. I'm obviously talking about the alt season, baby. Okay, so if we're going down this rabbit hole, we've got to shine a spotlight on XRP, because XRP is straight up dominating right now in the RWA space. And man, especially with these stablecoins. Here's a stat that'll make your jaw drop. Like, our stablecoin market cap has jumped 39+% in just the past 30 days. Like, how insane is that to see happening right before our eyes? So let's quickly scan through these stablecoin market caps and spot what's really popping off on XRP. Right now, the star of the show is hands down RLUSD. We literally just blew past $90 million locked into RLUSD. Now, yeah, most of RLUSD supply is still chilling on Ethereum. Hey, that tracks perfectly. Look, I've mentioned this before and I'll say it again. Ethereum, it's hands down the most liquid network when it comes to stablecoins. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to see tons of stablecoins launching on Ethereum first. That's just how it works in the beginning. But then, oh man, that's when these other networks are going to explode. Now let me show you what's happening with RLUSD. And this is where it gets really interesting. We're looking at an 11.2% jump in the last 30 days alone, with over $789 million worth of RLUSD floating around out there. Pretty solid, right? But the monthly transfer volume, this is where things get absolutely crazy. We're talking about a 53+% increase in just the last 30 days. That's almost $5 billion tied to RLUSD. I mean, seriously, this is incredibly exciting to watch unfold. What this tells us is simple. RLUSD is getting adopted massively. Like, seriously, massively. I'm on X recently, just doing my usual scroll, and boom, Monica Long drops this post. Now, if you don't know, she's the president over at Ripple, and she's talking stablecoins. She goes, stablecoin payments are all over banks and payment companies, earnings calls, and crypto Twitter. Then she hits us with what gives. And honestly, it's pretty obvious what's happening here. Payments are finally getting that full embrace from both the traditional finance world and the DeFi space. Blockchain's killer use case, yeah, it's payments, baby. Okay, so trend number 1 that she highlights, this massive stablecoin flurry we're seeing. And she brings up something I've been wondering too. Do we really truly need 100 different USD stablecoins out there? Because if we're being honest, tons of them have zero clear use case. They're just pure FOMO plays. Kind of takes me back to that wild NFT craze of 2020 rolling into 2021, right? Now, don't get me wrong, some of these actually make sense. Real use cases exist, like interbank payments or those customer loyalty programs. For certain issuers, controlling their own reserves or having that brand ownership matters big time. But for everyone else, look, launching your own stablecoin means dealing with asset management, navigating regulatory compliance nightmares, and grinding to build liquidity plus distribution. That's seriously an expensive undertaking. Okay, trend number 2 coming in hot. Stablecoin payment networks are sprouting up like mushrooms, and oh man, some of them are showing off those fancy brand name partnerships. But listen, don't let the shiny logos fool you. Before you sign anything, you need to dig deeper. How exactly do onboarding fees work, and what's their reconciliation process really look like? Because here's the truth bomb. If the network provider doesn't have a license, all they've done is string together a bunch of partners like some weird payment chain. So congratulations, you've still got all the same correspondent banking nightmares, just now, drumroll please, it's happening on a blockchain. Moving to trend number 3. Everybody and their cousin wants to build their own blockchain. Sure, payments definitely need specific features and capabilities, I'll give you that. But check this out. There are already public layer 1 and layer 2 chains that handle payments beautifully. XRP, Ledger, anyone? Here's reality though. For these brand new chains to actually survive, you're looking at enormous capital investments plus years of absolute grind to reach genuine decentralization. They've got to build rock solid liquidity and construct infrastructure that genuinely works for payments. And you know what? When we really think about what's going down here, the whole stablecoin situation boils down to this. We've already got working stablecoins that do the job. So check this out. We've literally got a stablecoin sitting right here, RLUSD. That's totally transparent and fully backed with absolutely everything you need for payments or any payment scenario you can think of. And now we're seeing all these players jumping into the game, launching their stablecoin projects, spinning up networks, building everything around stablecoins. But here's where it gets interesting. Monica Long's hitting the nail on the head here. You've got all these network providers operating without licenses, piecing together all these different partnerships. But wait, let's pause for a second. What actual problem is this solving? Honestly, it's just turning into this giant mess on chain. That's precisely why our attention is locked on what Ripple's building with RLUSD. And here's the really cool part. When we're talking about RLUSD, we're already watching massive adoption unfold. This was one of several major announcements this year, yeah? And Ripple just brought this back into the spotlight on October 1st. Why should sending or saving money across Africa feel like you're getting robbed in broad daylight or waiting for a snail to finish a marathon? That's the whole reason we created RLUSD, our USD-backed stablecoin. We're out here flipping the script completely by joining forces with incredible partners like Chipper Cash App, Valor.com, and Yellow Card app. We're demolishing those insane fees, supercharging transaction speeds, and genuinely putting dependable financial tools into the hands of real individuals and businesses throughout the entire continent. You've got to see how stablecoins are literally reshaping the financial services landscape across Africa. Now, diving deeper into all of this, RLUSD's arrival in Africa represents a pivotal moment for both stablecoins and financial accessibility worldwide. And listen closely here, because this is way bigger than just a breakthrough for stablecoins or simply expanding financial inclusion opportunities. This is honestly reshaping the entire financial ecosystem as we know it. Check out the first critical issue they're addressing head on. They're pulling back the curtain on probably the most devastating problem crushing cross-border payments right now. Hardworking overseas employees are watching nearly 10% of every paycheck they send home vanish into predatory fees before their loved ones see a single cent. And a neighborhood shopkeeper grinds daily, carefully saves everything in local currency, then watches helplessly as runaway inflation completely vaporizes months' worth of their profits literally overnight. High costs, sluggish speeds, and super limited access. That's what we're dealing with in today's financial system, making it ridiculously hard for regular people and businesses to save money, send payments, or even plan ahead with any kind of security. For the 41% of Africans who don't even have a bank account, yeah, the struggle is way more real. Cash becomes their only lifeline, which means endless trips to those transfer agents lugging around physical cash like it's the old days, and constantly worrying about getting robbed or just losing it all. But here's where it gets exciting. Africa is actually leading the charge when it comes to financial innovation and inclusion. I mean, look at mobile money adoption, crypto-powered payment systems. This region has been showing the world how technology can literally jump over traditional roadblocks and create real, meaningful change. And that's exactly what stablecoins promise to deliver: a stable, super secure alternative to those crazy volatile local currencies and all that traditional finance headache. So guess what's happening now? We're entering a brand new chapter here. Ripple's USD-backed stablecoin RLUSD is officially launching in Africa. And the best part about this, right, is that RLUSD isn't just in Africa. All right, so it's live in the US right now, and Japan's getting the announcement in 2026. RLUSD is literally exploding with adoption worldwide. And honestly, my take is we're about to witness some crazy rapid growth during this whole phase. I mean, we're talking about shooting straight into probably the top 5 positions. Actually, you know what? It's probably going to surge right into the top 3 stablecoins just because the adoption momentum around RLUSD is getting red hot. What's really cool is seeing the speed, the affordability, the accessibility all getting spotlighted here with LUSD across these particular areas. But hold on, let's dive into the other use cases too. Think about the FX market, right? They're even pointing out how foreign exchange shortages and inflation create these massive challenges. Because here's the reality, stablecoins are literally disrupting the FX market. Pretty much every single financial market that comes to mind, yeah, stablecoins are going to shake that up too. Okay, so stablecoins, they're literally the hottest topic in crypto right now. And look, when you've got companies like Ripple in the game, I mean, these guys have poured their hearts and souls into these projects. RLUSD is a perfect example. I actually remember when it was first announced. And oh my gosh, everyone just freaked out about RLUSD, right? People were like, this is gonna replace XRP. XRP is dead. But hold on a second, let's actually think about what a stablecoin really is. Like, seriously think about the real world problems that a stablecoin can solve. Here's what I believe. The more people start using RLUSD and the more liquidity gets locked into RLUSD, the bigger the opportunities become, which means we can go after the FX market, right? $7.5 trillion daily. We've covered this so many times. That's the kind of massive opportunity we're talking about here. Cross-border payments, that's where things get really exciting. Suddenly, high-value transactions are taking center stage in the entire cross-border ecosystem because now you've got this incredibly liquid stablecoin powering everything behind the scenes. Institutional DeFi platforms, all these game-changing use cases can actually come to life, and they can be operating directly on the XRP ledger. And guys, we're already watching some seriously huge, like genuinely massive developments unfolding with RLUSD as we speak. I mean, okay, look at this. Let me pull up Jack McDonald's most recent post right here. And just so you know, this is the CEO of Sender Custody, SVP of stablecoins over at Ripple. The August RLUSD monthly independent attestation just went live. And this is the absolute first report that's come out from Deloitte and Touche LLP. So as RLUSD pushes toward that $800 million market cap milestone, we're doubling down on keeping RLUSD held to the ultimate highest level in regulatory compliance and complete transparency. Some exciting highlights from what's been yet another incredible month. RLUSD is now officially listed on Bybit spots coming straight from Bybit. RLUSD just landed as the go-to stablecoin off-ramp for BlackRock and VanEck's tokenized fund. Pretty wild, right? But hold on, it gets better. DBS Bank just linked up with Franklin Templeton and Ripple to execute the very first repo trade for a tokenized money market fund powered by RLUSD. Oh, and don't forget, we literally just talked about RLUSD going live in Africa. And here's what blows my mind. All of this happened in a single month. Like, seriously, wrap your head around how enormous RLUSD could become if we keep witnessing months packed like this one. Plus, knowing Ripple's track record and seeing how absolutely massive this whole institutional arena is becoming, and honestly, the enterprise side too, it genuinely feels like RLUSD is just going to keep exploding in terms of growth, adoption, and legitimate usage. Listen, if you're an XRP holder, this should be on your radar big time because sure, yeah, most of RLUSD's supply lives on Ethereum at this moment, but think about it, those Ethereum bottlenecks are going to smack hard once we witness more stablecoin use cases catching fire. I'm talking about stuff like payments at serious scale. And that's precisely what's going to fuel massive adoption of these foundational networks, XRP being a prime example. The XRP ledger is already locked and loaded with that EVM sidechain integration, meaning RLUSD can literally glide from Ethereum straight onto the XRP ledger like it's nothing. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here claiming every dollar chilling on Ethereum is going to migrate overnight, but mark my words, we're about to witness a pretty wild shift in this industry where Ethereum loses its crown as the go-to stablecoin powerhouse. And you know what? I absolutely think that day's coming eventually because, come on, we've all experienced just how sluggish and pricey Ethereum gets, right? But think about this for a second. If mainstream media keeps shoving stablecoins into the spotlight like they've been doing, and if we just keep watching adoption explode month after month, doesn't it make you curious? What's all this going to do to the blockchain networks powering everything behind the scenes? It's going to spark absolutely wild adoption levels throughout these networks. It's going to trigger some serious value expansion throughout these networks, and that's going to pump up the underlying gas token in amazing ways, driving higher prices, more actual usage, everything we want to see. And that's phenomenal news, especially for anyone who's been stacking XRP. All right, so that wraps things up. Really hoping you got some value out of this video. If that's the case, go ahead and drop a like, smash subscribe, crank on those notifications because I'm cooking up way more free content for you. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.